All right. So we're talking about the coronavirus, and you have some thoughts about it.
Okay. First off, the coronavirus sucks. Um, yeah, if anyone didn't know that already, kind of going into this whole situation, it's pretty damn lame.
Yeah, I think we could
No
agree
one
that
really likes it.
I think we could agree that it sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, I guess there's really a lot to go over it. I mean, we'll let you decide where you want to start with it because there's a lot of it. There's just a lot of stuff.
I mean, I guess should we uh, talk about what it is first before we get into everything else?
Sure, I guess. The coronavirus is basically okay. So it's I guess a relatively new pandemic in a way, because it's existed previously, but I think what's new about it is not, at least for what I understand, is has not been recently capable of infecting humans. And I've seen many things about that. So I mean, I don't really know a whole lot really on like what's true and what's what or anything like that. Um, just I heard something along the lines of the coronavirus was originally its protein wall does not break down, or at least originally did not break down inside humans. And so the idea is that for to be able to break down and infect humans, like break down inside and then allow the virus to infect humans, it possibly was altered. Uh, and then, of course, the virus causes respiratory issues like things that are similar to pneumonia and whatnot. And it's been especially dangerous, and of course, children and older people, like people who are already sick or weakened, um,
Yeah, it looks
are
like
is
they.
becoming much more of a bigger issue in China as of late.
Yeah, it looks
What's
like
up?
they discovered it in 2019. So it's pretty it's a pretty recent discovery,
Yeah.
and it looks like
Um,
it's airborne.
I think China has been researching it in their labs for a handful of years now. Uh, Yeah, as far as it being able to affect humans, I think it's just recent, in 2019. That right there. Um, yeah. So it's fun stuff. Really is. Anything you want to say?
Uh, Oh, that's a large family. So it looks like it's of the same family as SARS is actually.
Yeah, it's yeah, similar deal. Um, only I guess this one is a lot less controllable, and I think that is in part because from what I understand, China has not been doing a good job at all when it comes to containing it. They've instead chosen to quarantine people who they believe are infected into the same like large buildings and stuff like that, or trapping them inside of their homes, quarantining them in their own homes.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. They've
Uh,
basically been making quarantine death camps because they're just locking them in. They're just locking them in, and
yeah, they bring them in there and just leave them.
yeah, they're just leaving them there. Uh, and there's no way. I mean, it's not, especially with an airborne virus. It's not really even going to do much to uh, keep the spread
No,
of it down. It's just going to kill whoever's in there because they're not going to be able to get away from it or get
I
treament
believe
or anything.
the bit about it being airborne is a new thing as well. Um, because it used to be, I believe, or it used to spread, I believe, through like coughing and things like that, and then it became aerosol. I guess is the word, but airborne in a way, and it can actually infect through the eyes now, um, which is pretty damn scary.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it too. Is when you lock everybody in there and you let the virus just kind of when you let it gestate
Yeah,
and it mutates.
it
Yeah,
exactly, and I believe that's what happened is because of that it's been able to mutate and become a bigger issue.
and they're not doing anything about it. They're just locking them. They're locking the buildings. they've gone as far as welding metal bars around people's doors and windows so they can't
Yeah,
leave their homes. It's I mean it's
exactly.
insane.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. It is pretty damn messed up. Yeah, picking people up off the streets and stuffing them in these cubes in the back of trucks and then hauling them off for them to be quarantined.
Could you imagine walking down the streets of China and maybe you have a cold? You just had a cold at the really wrong time, and then you just get thrown in the back of a paddy wagon and chucked into a containment camp.
Yeah, why not? It's cool.
Ah, China.
Lots of fun.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's
China.
the best country on earth, right? Just like the good old land of USA. All the
Oh.
freedoms in the world.
I mean, that's what communist buys you. That's what communism
yeah.
buys you. Is terrible health care. And this, I mean, this isn't like the first time they've had something, maybe not to this scale, but it's not like the first outbreak of something or hardship they've endured because of their terrible health care down there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's an
no.
ongoing issue. Is just healthcare in general down there.
This issue seems like it's a lot worse than normal though, because I saw this video when my coworker sent me or showed me the other day, and I gotta hunt this sucker down because it seems like a pretty big deal. Um, but I saw this video that was a meeting between senators, generals, even admirals, and stuff like that. Some pretty big people. One name in particular that I saw that was among those was the guy's name is General Townsend. And he's a 4-star general from what I could tell. And yeah, they were talking about the situation over there, and that from what they knew, um, it's definitely up in the thousands of people who have died so far from it. But it's like China, I think, has quarantined like 60 million people, which is the population, as what the senator is speaking, the population of our West Coast. Um, and Yeah, and it's gotten super bad. Like it's not under control at all, and that surrounding countries have been closing off their borders and also all transportation back and forth completely. And how that senator wants to do the same for our country as well, to completely cut off all transport between China and here to prevent like any further spreading because it's just so out of control.
I don't know why
And
we
they
haven't
talked
done that
about
already.
if we haven't done it, I hope we do it here pretty soon because that's not good. Like
I
that's
would hope
not
so.
good at all.
I would hope so because leaving us, I mean, letting people come in might be the Christian thing of us to do to let them get better health care or whatever. But that, I mean, ultimately, it'd be a terrible idea. You're just bringing people, you're infecting the populace here.
I think the big thing is I don't believe there's currently a cure for it. There's no antiviral medication. There's no vaccine or anything like that made for it yet.
No,
So
it's
even if they
just,
did come over here, they can't actually be properly treated.
yeah, we're just gonna quarantine them in a slightly more comfortable way. They're just gonna be going. They're just gonna be hopping from quarantine to quarantine. I mean, obviously a more comfortable, more hospitable quarantine, but it's still quarantine. Because there is
I
no.
imagine our quarantines will be a little less fucked and not designed to let the virus mutate.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, because I was looking on the CDC website just before we started, and yeah, there's no antivirus right now. They're kind
Yeah.
of we're in sort of a calamity. Everybody's scrambling to find something, and the Chinese are just letting it mutate. So We're not
Yeah.
able to find anything. It's mutating faster than we can figure it out.
Supposedly, one of the ideas of where it came from is from, I believe it's a level 4, like a Wuhan, like level 4, uh, biology lab, I guess, where they also had this virus contained, and it was about 8 miles from like a human, like food market. They, of course, had seafood and stuff like that.
Oh Jesus!
Um, and so that's one of the ideas is that it could have leaked from there somehow and gotten over there because it's, someone, I think someone somewhere wants to blame it, on like, oh, it's just like bad seafood or whatever. It's like, no, it's, no, there's no way. Come on, it's like it had to come from somewhere. If it just popped up out of nowhere from a seafood place or something like that, it seems a little bit of a stretch.
I'm sure the Chinese government would be more than okay with saying, "Oh, it's just a bad seafood. It came from the
Hmm.
seafood. We
Oh,
didn't
I'm sure
fuck
they
up
would like us.
horribly. It's the seafood, right, UN?"
Yeah, it's not the worst thing that yeah, anyway, whatever. Um, exactly. It's totally not something far more extreme and severe than that. That that saying it's just seafood would probably be ignoring the issue. So I don't know. I'll have to
I
see about that.
I hope that once this is done, uh, there are some things on like I hope the world takes a fine look over China's security and what have you
Hmm.
in those
Yeah,
facilities. Because if it happens once, it's gonna happen again probably.
oh, it's absolutely likely to happen again for sure.
And I mean, how did it happen? It doesn't this that doesn't happen
I
back here. I don't know. I
I
don't.
truly
Off the
I
top of
truly
my
hope
head, I
that
can't. Off the top of my head, I can't think
mm,
of one other place that this has happened in recent memory, or even in memory. So I
yeah,
mean, this is
no,
kind of insane.
I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to when it came to things like the bird flu and whatnot. Um, but I mean, this one obviously is a bigger deal because unlike the bird flu and swine flu and stuff like that, we had vaccinations for it. We had methods of quickly dealing with it, so it didn't become a huge issue. But
Well,
this
they were.
situation here is a lot more severe.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
because they started and we knew where they were coming in. You know, we I guess we could localize it,
Mm,
but it just exploded in China.
yeah.
And it,
Well, see, this one was also not taken very seriously either. It was just going to be seen as like another like, oh, it's like the bird flu or whatever. It's just we're just gonna it's gonna be an issue for a little bit. We'll just deal with it and then kind of sweep it aside. But no, um, especially since it sounds like like I get the media, like or more mainstream media outlets wanting to kind of not make this seem like a massive deal and to cause panic or something like that. But this is too much. Like this is much beyond that. Like people need to know about it because the numbers that I've seen on official, like from official sources and stuff like that, play this whole thing down to be minuscule. Like maybe a few thousand people have gotten it, and maybe I don't know, a couple hundred, or maybe just in the tens or something like that of people have actually died from it, which is what I don't think seems to be the case. Um, I mean, I've seen videos from other like YouTubers. They post them up, like Mr. Obvious, for instance, who he shows what appears to be actual people in China and the situation all around, and it does not look good. Some of them claim to be doctors as well, saying like the numbers are extremely high in the amount of people who have been infected and died from this stuff. And this was just a matter of weeks ago. Um,
well,
it
it
appears to
doesn't
be getting
surprise
worse.
me with the way that they're trying to quarantine everybody, and if you could even
Oh
call it
shit! Let me shot
quarantine.
at. Ah fuck. Uh-oh, I just blew up the back of my freaking rover.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me the way that it's spreading if yeah, the severity of the situation, especially since they're not uh, they're not going about it in a humane way, but they're not going about it in a smart way either. They're lumping all the sick people in together, hoping out of not really, I guess, hoping they don't get everybody else sick, but it travels in the air. Somebody
Right,
please tell the Chinese that metal bars doesn't stop airborne viruses.
right. Especially now that, as I mentioned before, it is able to infect through the eyes now. So that makes current defense mechanisms against that sort of stuff, such as those masks and stuff like those respirators,
Yeah,
completely useless.
those hospital masks you see all over the
My
Asian
rover, oh no,
the
this
Asian
ain't gonna be
countries.
good at all. Oh, thank God. Okay, I recovered. Oof.
Yeah, but
Is that?
I would love to see something come from China. I haven't seen anything yet. There might be something out right now that says uh, what the percentage, how many people, what the percentage is, um, the fatality rate. That's what I would like to know. As of
Yeah.
right now, as of the most recent mutation, what the fatality rate would be. Uh, that's what I would like to know.
Oh
But I
no,
don't. I haven't
my
seen
rover's gonna
anything.
die. Oh no.
I haven't seen anything on the news about any of that, which kind of leads me to believe that they are trying to downplay the situation. For
Alright,
what reason? For what reason? I'm not sure, but it does seem that way,
poor
doesn't it?
rover. Poor rover. Fucking. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, sorry. The thing, I was climbing up this mountain, and then there's these gun placements that happened to be up there, and they started shooting. I started moving away, and then my rover decided to start flipping down the mountain and start exploding, and it's not great. Um, it still somehow works, but it took a lot of damage, and it's very much on fire.
Jesus.
God damn it. Oh, anyway, yeah. Um. Okay. Yeah, anyway, I wish I'd actually brought up a bunch of sources in front of me and stuff like that. It would have been easier to talk about this whole thing. Um, oh, this is a dead guy. Oh, cool. Uh, wonder if I can find that
Yeah, I
video.
and what just occurred to me now is I'm kind of worried that the lack of understanding in the Chinese right now, as far as the quarantine situation, could have some really bad and ill effects on some of uh, poorer the poorer
Okay.
countries bordering China and around China, because
I believe
this could spread very quickly.
I believe Tom Cotton, that's his name, the senator that I was talking about. Excuse me. Let's see here. See if this is the video.
What what borders China to the southwest?
I don't think really anything because it's I mean there's an ocean down there, but I guess you have other countries nearby and that do neighbor it. Hello, the stupid head. Oh, can't get down.
It's got something to the
Here it is. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and send this to you actually.
yeah.
Mm,
It's got something to the west of it, doesn't it? I'm sure it does. I'll have to pull up a map.
Um, right. We're on. Okay, so All right. Well, I'm just gonna send it to you over Messenger.
Yeah.
Actually, you have your Discord up on your computer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look. I'm looking at China right now. Let's see. I'm looking at the world map.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Do you have your Discord up on your computer?
Yeah.
Okay. One second. I'll send you the link there as well. There we go. Okay. Take a look at that. Go and put that up on your recording even.
Yeah, to the China. Yeah, it's really close to India. It's actually I'm
Hmm?
way worse at geography than I thought. It's really close to India. Can you imagine if this hits India?
Yeah. An extremely populated area. Also, they were also talking about how, like, what if it were to hit uh, Africa as well? And that Africa, has already been dealing with plenty of other stuff. They don't have any proper defenses against stuff like this, so they're pretty much guaranteed screwed.
Oh man, if this hits India, guaranteed if this hits India, it'll hit Iraq and Iran, and then
Sorry.
from Iran it'll go to Saudi Arabia, then Egypt, and then once it's in Egypt, boom, everybody's dead in Africa. Because they're never gonna be able to. I mean, it would never happen. They're not prepared for that.
Mhm.
They're not prepared for daily life in a lot of those places.
No, not for daily life. Yeah, no, not really. Um,
And it's only got to go through what the probably the least able to the least able places to stop this virus ever. Some of the dirtier places on the planet, some of the least
yeah,
cleanly, the ones that wipe their ass with their hand.
yeah,
Let letting
that's
letting pigs eat their crap. Yeah, that fantastic.
it's super sanitary.
I mean, if it hits India, if it hits India, everyone over there's fucked. It's
Yeah, I don't
not
know
even.
how India would actually handle that sort of thing. I mean, maybe hopefully they'll handle it better than China is currently doing. China's not really handling it at all. They're just kind of trying to sweep it underneath the rug. Uh, so yeah, and of course, India is indeed extremely. I went hell over here. I keep forgetting I'm not using my headset microphone. But yeah, no, India is. I'm hoping would be a little bit more. They would take precautions, unlike China, which is not at all.
I would hope so.
Especially considering India is extremely populated.
Yeah, that's my worry though is that they're not. They're I guess India's overall hygiene. I'm sure in the cities it's probably fine, but there are a lot of places that aren't the cities in India that are way too
Mm-hmm.
overpopulated. They're,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they're just not. They're not clean, and they're not. They're definitely not clean enough. But there would be no way. And if
Uh-huh.
the cities are surrounded by these areas, there's no way you could quarantine every surrounding area and not the city. It would. I mean, it would be.
Right.
There'd be so many people. It would blow through India like nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
and if
once,
it goes all the way down to a less developed country as well, then I'd say they're just completely screwed.
yeah, if it hits India, there's so much travel uh, by bus and like mass road travel down there, that I would not be surprised if it, as soon as it hit India, if it moved somewhere else immediately, because I don't think their border is going to be that secure, especially for that. Really, really hope it doesn't hit India. I feel like if it hits India, that's a really that would be a pivotal win for the virus.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, I suppose if we're going to talk about anything on your channel, we probably should have prepared with a lot more material to look over and read.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure stuff will be coming out.
Yeah, there's a lot to this, and so much has been covered over the just even over the past weeks. It's just yeah, no, there's just a lot.
Things will continue to come out.
Yeah, yeah, they will.
Things will be coming out for the next, hopefully for the next, you know, long while. And hopefully they come up with something to stop this in its tracks. If not, then
Yeah, I hope so too. I would really hate it to see it actually expand anything like anywhere beyond China, just because it just like well, I mean, it just won't be good. Uh, I think if it's able to gain too much traction, it's just going to be incredibly hard to stop. Like even if we find like a vaccine for it or an antiviral, um, well, just an antivirus, just in general, uh, for it, then it's yeah. If it spreads far enough, it will be extremely hard to push it back. I mean, and you really don't want to see that, like something like that taking over the world, basically.
yeah, it
As we mentioned before, or as I mentioned before, it's kind of like the worst kind of zombie. You know, they're alive and still people, and they're trying to find help and stuff like that, and causing it to spread as they do so.
yeah, zombies with their humanity intact.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know how close they are to finding something, but I hope it's close.
What was that?
It's just saying I don't know how close they are to finding something, an antivirus, but I hope it's close. I hope somebody's
Volume down too.
close to cracking it and getting this over with. Um, if you're willing to do another one of these, maybe in the next couple of days, I can do some more research and we can figure out maybe what the death toll is, although that might be depressing. Um, and then maybe
I mean, whatever it is, I doubt we'll find actual accurate numbers for it.
probably not. But
I mean, just because so much stuff is being hidden about it. So, I mean, what can you expect? I mean, we can find numbers that might suggest where it's at, or at least or give us an idea. But chances are it's going to be higher than whatever is shown. And yeah, you should really take a look at that video I sent you, by the way, on Discord and over Messenger.
yeah,
You want that? Quit doing that.
yeah, well, I'm sure you're right on that too.
Climbing on my desk.
Yeah, but I think that's all we have to say on it right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually have my brain fully prepared for this sort of thing. This sort of thing, I think, would be best with an actual planned out discussion and with materials that we're going to actually look over and talk about.
I don't
Because
know.
there's just so much to go off. It's too much to just go off within our brains.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not a whole lot of information on it right now, at least up to date information. There's a whole CDC page on it, but it's not a lot of it isn't up to date as far as the recent outbreak. So I don't know if you're up to doing another one in the next week when there's more information out. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, at some point when we, yeah, if you want to do a more fleshed out discussion about something, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I just I mean, if there's more information that comes out, especially on this, I feel like people should know. People need to know. I feel like that's the responsible thing to do. Hopefully somebody is giving out useful information. Certainly the news isn't. But yeah,
Oh boy.
I'll
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'll do some research on it. I'll watch some videos. I'll read some articles and try to find out a little bit more about it, and maybe, hopefully, something to possibly make it a little harder to catch. I think that would be interesting and valuable information for everybody. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything we got to say on it. So yeah, that's it.
Now I can escape.
Never.